Hey, we're back.
We're back. We're back.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. We're like Star Wars, dude. Like
Oh,
we're just like
absolutely.
going like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. What's on your brain today, man? I'm curious on what's going on in the Brandon Dome.
Well, couple things. So, I went to the gun range today
Oh, okay.
and finally got a little shooting time in. Um, I saw one of the funniest things while I was there, and it stuck with me, and I cannot stop thinking about it today.
Okay, hit me. I want to know now.
So, so I'm there, and I'm like getting ready to shoot or whatever. Guy pulls up in a Tesla. And instantly I was like, oh no. No, this is an outdoor range. You can see the parking lot from the shooting line. Like it's just like a local town range. It's not anything crazy. But guy gets out of his Tesla and he's wearing skinny jeans. It's got like the man bun. So, and I'm like, at first I'm like, is he coming here to like protest or something? Like, what's going on?
Uh-huh.
And then he proceeds to pull his AR-15 out of the trunk of his Tesla. And I'm like, did I find like the leftist that actually likes guns? And
I
I
feel
don't
like
mean, bro, I don't mean like, okay, so personally, I find myself very in the middle politically. I don't I don't go one too far in either direction. This dude looked like he was related to Nancy Pelosi.
that's awesome. So, okay, let me get this straight because I want to make sure I heard you right. So you had a dude in skinny jeans, man bun, in a Tesla, show up to an outdoor gun range with his AR-15.
Yes. So I know that sounds like it didn't happen, right?
Yeah,
It sounds like the exact opposite. Don't get me
I feel
wrong.
like you were in an episode of Punked.
I thought that we were getting punked by the ATF. Like I was like, what is going on here? But no, dude was cool as hell. And you know, we've talked about this several times now, but like I found today even at the gun range that I was wearing my old man judgment jacket apparently
Oh, what were you
because
wearing?
like I was
Like what? Hold
judging
on.
people.
What was the jacket for real versus what you referred to as your? What did you
Well, I was
refer
just wearing
to?
a hoodie, but
Okay, fair enough.
um, it is only like I think it was only like 37 degrees today, but it was
Okay,
actually not that bad.
not bad, not bad.
Um, but yeah, like so I found that I even find myself like given the old man attitude to like people doing stuff with guns, right?
Mm-hmm, hmm
And that was pretty funny. And then yeah, I actually took the advice that we gave in our last episode and I just started talking to a bunch of different people. And like they told me to come back and hang out and shoot more and show up and become a member and this and that. And it was pretty cool. Like everything was positive the whole time I was there. It was awesome.
So I'm gathering that next week you're gonna have a Tesla, skinny jeans, and a man bun. Is that what I'm gathering?
No, there's going to be no man bun anytime soon. Um, I am perfectly happy with my BMW. Although maybe a Tesla down the road, who knows? But I'm not wearing skinny jeans, bro. There ain't nothing about me skinny. Not my
like
jeans, not my
that's
shoes, not my socks.
that's the limit. That's where we draw the line. Skinny jeans.
Yeah, the skinny jeans is pretty much off limits. Like,
I agree with you, man. And you know what? Like, I usually can get with the times in terms of like what the fashion sense is. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not like gonna look fucking awesome in anything, but like I usually try to stay with it, right? Like
Right.
not to offend it. I'm not trying to like rock the latest and greatest, but I'm also not trying to offend anybody. But skinny jeans, man, I can't get with it either. I
I
cannot.
can't get behind skinny jeans. I can absolutely get behind these. There's like 4 different companies that make them now, but they're called bird dogs.
Uh-huh.
Um, they on the outside they look like I wear them to go play golf a lot.
Okay.
On the outside they just look like khaki shorts. Well, they have like built-in like athletic style boxer briefs,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and dude, they feel like you're wearing basketball shorts, and you
That's
actually look
awesome.
presentable. So, like, I'm completely down with them. They're apparently an in thing with the younger crowd.
And what are they called?
Bird dogs.
Bird dogs. I've not heard of it. Is that like a nationwide brand or just like
Yeah,
out okay.
they're nationwide. There's another company called Chubbies that I think makes a very similar product. They've kind of popped up a little bit everywhere.
Interesting.
Um, I do recommend them though. Any one of them, it doesn't matter. They are fantastic.
I'm
Very
sold
very freeing sensation.
on I'm sold on this, man. Bird dogs. Gonna go get them. Gonna go get them. So far you've sold me into bird dogs. The what did you call the other ones? The highly fashionable Crocs. What were they?
That's it.
um, and a hoodie. That's a good outfit, man. It's a good
It's a good
outfit.
outfit.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Um, so today, right? You know how I again get into my thoughts of like, deep inside of the Nelson soul and into try to do self-discovery and all that shit. So today I kind of went into my childhood, right?
Hmm?
And I started thinking about like how my childhood compares to my kids' childhood. And it's very different. Very different. Like, I don't
Bro.
remember being home so much as a kid.
Me neither.
Like, I remember like my mom having to like go look for me to come home.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, and it wasn't like I was doing anything bad, or like it wasn't like I was running away from home and like leaving town or anything like that. Like I just went down to like, the little park down the street, and then I played basketball or like whatever else was happening down there. Um, but like I don't think I was ever home. And my kids always home, man. Like
They don't leave the house.
they don't leave the house, bro. Like,
Absolutely.
what's up with
I
that?
Dude, I can remember like I learned the street light rule real young.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, unless there was like a foot of snow on the ground, and even then, I may need that rule.
hmm
Um, but I mean, we would go out in all kinds of crazy and do like just random stuff. Like, and it really, I mean, shit, half the time it was walking to nowhere and then walking back. Like it wasn't even that we went anywhere in particular.
Right,
Um,
right, right. And
we're
like,
just
like,
out.
well, here's the other thing that I was thinking about that, right? Like, I was like, so back when I was a kid, like, I used to be pumped to get like a new bicycle, right? Because the thing was that like you actually used it.
Oh yeah. Like that was a convenience to you. Now you got more than one speed. You got multiple brakes that actually work. You're not
hmm
gonna die if you go down a hill.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
new bike was like it was like that feeling when you see that guy that's like cleaning his car on Saturday.
Yeah,
Like you felt accomplished.
absolutely, absolutely. And I remember getting a new bike, and like I was always excited for it. And now, like I think about it with like my kids currently, and like they don't really give a shit about a new bike. And again, it's because of the fact that they just don't go anywhere.
Right.
Which like in part kind of saddens me, but I also get it, right? Like, and the other thing is that like I don't know if it's because of social media or whatnot, but I also don't remember there being a lot of fucking psychos out there. Like I don't remember like having to like my mom having to be like I mean she would warn me about like don't get into a a car with a stranger or shit like that, right? But she
Right.
was never like the guy down the street could be a pedophile. Never like said that. But like, now we worry about that, right?
Right. It's
And
getting crazy, man. Like I can say that I I think that's one downside to this whole epic quest for PC, right?
Mhm.
Because it's become politically correct to be a weirdo. Like you know what I mean? Like it's become a norm. Like it's everything got normalized, and then it's like, oh well, they have rights too, and uh no like, and then people are just more outward about some of those quirks, which I don't know. I've also heard several stories where people can actually live comfortably in their lives now versus 25 years ago when we were growing up,
right.
which is cool, but like I don't know, they're definitely like, people need to tuck the weirdo shit back in. Like that's also because bad shit happened to weirdos when we were kids. Now
That
you can't do that.
you know what? Like that actually is a good point. Like weirdos did get pointed out more as kids, which then in return made you more aware of them, but like aware in a sense that it was like a subconscious awareness, not like a full on blast. That guy is weirdo, right?
Right. And I don't know. Now, this I struggle with, right? Because me and you grew up in the same state, just a little bit different area, but very much a similar upbringing as far as the social class that we existed within growing up, right?
Right, right.
My wife, I feel like she grew up in a fishbowl. Like, she has absolutely no awareness of what's going on around her at any given moment.
Like
And
at
like,
all?
no.
Huh.
She's grown a little bit and caught on a little bit. I think a lot of what she did learn was while she lived in the same state with us, well,
Yeah.
with you guys. And um I mean, but there's times, man, like where she's just, trucking along down a street because her GPS told her to go that way. And I'm like, you have no business
Like is she
anywhere
is she
there.
is she the type that like have you ever seen those videos of like where they play this like 2 second or 2 second 2 minute clip, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, "Did you see the dancing bear?" Right? And they repeat the video, and then you actually do see a dancing bear. Like, is that Lacey's life on the
Oh,
regular?
absolutely. Absolutely.
She's always
And
missing the dancing bear.
constantly. And she is that crazy white lady with the pit bull. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like she sees some like, crazy situation. She's like, "Oh, come here. You need a bow and a hug."
But
Like,
do you think that was because of where she grew up, or is that because of like just her mindset as a whole, where she just doesn't pay attention?
no, I think one thing that's unique to here is a lot of people here live their entire existence within a 10-mile radius.
Hmm.
They don't go anywhere.
So you just kind of know each other.
Right. So everybody knows, who's who, where's where, that's that. And as things change and as, neighborhoods change, streets change, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it back home. I mean, I know I've seen it some places that I used to live. I don't think I could ever go back and live there now. And some places that we used to avoid, like, you're not allowed over there, now are, multi-million dollar condos.
Right.
Um, but here, I mean, it hasn't changed much. I mean, from what she explains.
That's funny.
But,
So like is it like where generation after generation just kind of stays there. So like you know somebody based on like like they would reference somebody like Tony, Jesse's wife's brother, and then you're like,
Oh,
oh
exactly.
yeah, like that.
Yep, exactly.
Okay,
Like
okay.
like people around here study lineage.
That's a good way of putting it. Okay, okay.
But there is a certain amount of naiveness that goes along with it, like not really taking in the world around you. Like
Mhm.
I'm not. It's Connecticut. Like let's get real. There's no terrifying neighbor. Maybe like one or two neighborhoods that I would be like, yeah, let's go around somewhere else. Who cares? But it's really not that bad. I mean, honestly, there's places that I'm way more afraid of to be.
Uh-huh.
But um still it's like she shouldn't be taking Paisley and going through certain areas, and it's like she just trucks right on through, has no idea, no clue, grew up here and doesn't even know how to get places either.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Now, like as I'm thinking about this, right? Like I'm kind of comparing the different places that I lived to what you described. And I don't think I know of any other place like that. Like, so when we were in Maryland, like, I don't remember knowing the neighbors to that degree where I would know, like, Jesse's brother's uncle's mother's friend, right? I wouldn't know that. Like,
No.
I would probably know, like, Miss Jenkins down the road, right? I would know that,
Right.
but I wouldn't know, like, anybody else visiting. And then I go back to, like, I lived in Texas and then now in Colorado. And, like, I don't remember having a, a community like that. Do you think that's like a New England thing, or is that just because people are just fucking nosy in Connecticut?
I think people are just nosy as fuck. Like, I mean, and I think, but not in a malicious kind of way. Like,
Okay.
I think that they just take conversation starting to an extreme sport. And they like, I don't know, there's a very, like, on my street, my father-in-law walks back and forth from their house to my house every day, every single day, no matter what it's doing outside. He'll come walking up the street. He knows more about what people are in my neighborhood are doing in their lives. Like he knows stuff about people. I don't even know who they are. Like he said, "Oh, then down the street they're getting a new pool put in." Awesome. I don't know the guy's
like,
name.
like you're just like, how the fuck do you know that? Like,
Right.
are you
Like,
the FBI?
but like, and he talks to everybody in the neighborhood. I'm
That's so
pretty sure most of them think he lives here.
most of them think that like they're related to him somehow.
Right. They're like, "Oh, that's Brian."
Right, right, right. That's funny, man. Like we don't have that here. And then like again, I don't know if it's because of the upbringing, but again, I don't remember having that in Maryland either at all.
No. I mean, a little bit, like you said, like we all knew Mrs. Jenkins down the road who used to yell at us when we would cut through and go
Yeah,
across the backyard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but she could have the Pope at her house and we wouldn't know about
Right, right, right.
it. Like,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
maybe it's a unique thing to hear. I'm still learning this place, man. I mean, it's
That's
been almost 11 years and I'm still trying to figure out some stuff.
that's crazy, man. You know what's crazy about Connecticut too? Like the roadways don't make sense for shit.
Oh my God.
I don't understand it. I mean, okay, I get it that like I believe that is like a mining town, right? Like,
Um,
or is that what it is? Like I know you guys have like fucking minerals and whatever the fuck you
I don't
guys
know.
have.
This town, the big industry in this town was the Goodyear tire factory.
Man, don't lie. The big business in that town is Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, absolutely. There's fucking 9 of
No, I'm
them.
with you. I'm with you. So okay, so the
Or
tire
maybe it wasn't Goodyear. Uniroyal. That's what it was.
you know.
Uniroyal.
Okay, okay. But I know that like there's like aren't there like quarries and shit like that all
Not
over?
here. Not really.
Oh shit. Okay.
I mean, not that there very well could be. I don't know.
Shit. Okay. Fuck. then why the fuck do you have shitty roads then?
I have no idea.
Because see, like I was
And that's
gonna
the other
blame
part that doesn't make sense is we pay a lot of money in taxes and our roads are terrible. Like
That's what I'm
wagon trail terrible.
like that's the thing that I'm wondering, right? Is like so I was gonna blame it on like the quarry towns, right? Because of they have no choice. They have to blow up in order to make roadways.
Right.
But for you guys, the fuck happened?
I have no idea. I guess that guy might have been off work this week. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's it's it's so weird to me. Shit, I was gonna say something. Now I lost my train of thought.
I just completely lost mine at the same time.
Fuck.
But yeah, anyway, this town, I mean, we pay a lot of money in taxes, and I know I sound like an old man bitching about taxes, but like 10 grand a year, I don't know if that's normal or not. And I would think that we could pave the roads at least in like sterling silver, at least.
With all the taxes you pay.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, again, I think your roadways are also kind of funky because like they're hard to get to, man.
Well, and they don't make sense in where they go. Like there is no back way that's faster.
Right.
Like everywhere where I grew up, there's always a back way that's faster if you just drive like an asshole.
Right.
And if you know where to go, like
Right.
you know the 3 turns you got to make, and you can be somewhere 20 minutes faster than taking the normal route.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist here, and I don't know. I've had this conversation with several people that live in around here and have grown up here, and they say that a lot of it has to do with some of these roads were, established before the United States was established. So it's old as fuck.
Okay.
I mean, that might be a reason.
Okay, that I can live with, right? Because again, they didn't know how much they were going to be building, right? They also like
That are
didn't
their ideas of what would be built versus what actually have been built were
right, very
miles
different,
apart.
very different. So I can see why that would be a reason. That actually makes sense to me. But outside of that, like I just didn't understand why the roads are so odd. I mean, like, and the thing is that like, they all kind of like snake off each other, which is the thing that's crazy.
But like, so when you guys lived in Texas, I love Texas because you can figure out how to get anywhere you want and don't really need anything.
Right.
Like you don't need a GPS, you don't need a map. You can just be like, oh, well, I know how to get out of the where I'm at. And here's the main road, and there's a sign that tells me that Austin's that way, and New Braunfels is that way, and this is that way, and that's that way, and you just go. Like it's very, very simple to get around in Texas, in my opinion, for the little bit that I was there. But here, it's like none of it makes sense. That like there's roads that seem like they're missing all the time. Like
yeah. Well,
like why didn't somebody just pave a road straight here?
Right.
Straight.
Well, what's funny is that like I didn't like Austin's roadways. Texas in general was okay. But Austin's I couldn't really figure out. Now I do like Colorado's roadways because their roadways are actually on a grid. Like so like they're like it gradually goes up in numbers, right? As you're like going northbound, right? And then if you're going east and west, then like the roadways are by name, right? So you always reference the number and then whatever it is, right? So like, if you were to say like, 120th in Colorado, everybody knows where that is, right? But
that's
Texas
very
did not
DC.
have that. Yeah. But like Texas didn't have that at all. And that's where like really confusing to me.
I think we're comparing two very similar things. We're comparing Texas, the redneck directions, and then DC and Denver as the hood directions.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Both are very okay to navigate. You can make it through.
Although DC has some fucked up ways too, because DC, here's the history lesson for you. So DC, I know, was like, built by Lafont for the most part, and it was built during a time period where there was like, war and shit like that. So DC was built with like a fuck ton of circles. That's why you have, like the driving circles all over DC, and it's because of the fact that they wanted to control traffic because they were trying to see who was coming into the city. But the good thing about DC is also, which kind of ties into what you were talking about earlier, where DC has a whole bunch of ways in and out, right? Like there's not just a one way to get there.
Well, not only that, if you get lost in DC, you know that anything that has southwest after it, you need to avoid.
right. Like what you know that quadrant is not safe.
That quarter of DC is a no-fly zone.
Right. Don't go there. Don't go there. No, you're absolutely right, man. But that's the thing. Like I always wonder about roadways in general and how they come up with that shit, right? Because like that's the thing. Like every state is different. I mean, like you have highways that are the same. Those you understand, right? Because obviously they're interstates, right? But in terms of like roads within states themselves, they're very different.
Oh, dude, and like sometimes just the naming of the roads make it difficult.
Oh my God.
Shout out to Howard County, Poco. Whoever named all the roads in Columbia, I know me and you have talked about this before, but whoever gets to name the roads in the town of Columbia in Maryland is the most fabulous individual on the face of the
earth. I like how you said fabulous. He's an asshole.
Dude, I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce the name of the road until I pass it.
Exactly.
And it's like a weird mix of like Baltimore's traffic patterns and DC's traffic patterns put together.
It's a mess.
It's just a mess.
It's terrible. It's awful. But no, like you touch base on roads, right? Name of roads. So here's the thing that irks me about road names. The ones that like where towns name them like Coral Street, Coral Avenue, Coral Way, like they're all grouped together, right? So all of them are named fucking Coral. I hate that shit. Hate it.
Yeah. And then you'll get Coral Street Extension.
Right. Yes.
Like the guy who names the roads was off that day.
Right.
And they were just like, all right, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to name it? We kind of ran out of names. We're just going to
ask the secretary.
Right.
And she's like, what about Coral Street Extension? Perfect, Cindy.
Right. Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. But no, man, like I just, like that shit fucking irks me, man. Like I always think that people are just lazy. Like people that like did the naming conventions of that, right? Like they just couldn't come up with anything original at all. And I don't understand why they do that. I don't get it.
And I feel like they're over exercising that artistic ability a little bit there, where like they go from like, okay, we need to name a road to fuck it, we need to name a road.
Yeah. The other thing that I like hate about roadways too is like, how like sometimes you have a road that is named a specific name in one side of the street, but on the other side of the street is named something different. Like now I understand how we got there. I don't understand why we don't correct it. Meaning like why doesn't one side go, hey man, we've been calling it this forever. You guys are going to get the new road. Why don't you pick up on the name that we had named it originally? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that never happens that way. It's always like the one city has to name it something different from what the road is called like a mile back. I hate that shit. Hate it.
Like, nah, you ain't naming my road. It's my road.
Right. Dude, come on. Like that shit drives me.
Like, bro, just leave the. Especially when the original road name continues after the fact.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now you get it. You get what I'm saying. That shit
Absolutely.
fucking drives me crazy about roadways, man. Hate it. Hate it. But yeah.
And can
I
I
never
can I
thought I
just
would be so
petition,
passionate
like, we don't
about
need
straightness.
any more main streets, bro.
No.
We don't. We
No.
don't. And there's not a real reason why we need to have East Main, West Main, North Main, South Main. Like, we don't need that many main streets.
Right. Right.
Like, let there be one.
Right. Let them have it. Stop
Right.
trying to steal their thunder.
Right. Just let there be one.
I agree there. 100%. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I never thought I would be so pissed off about roadways, but now the more that I think about it, I am pissed off about them. I don't even know why.
We're getting old.
Is that what it is?
We're finding new things to bitch about.
Right.
Like, so far today, we've bitched about taxes,
Yeah.
road names, towns' inabilities to put a roadway together.
The one guy in the Tesla.
The guy in the Tesla.
We've bitched about a good group of people today.
Right. So, I mean, hey, I think it is funny because I know that me and you aren't sitting back bitching about these things with like super negative outlooks. It's more of a what the fuck outlook,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's more of a like it's more of a trying to find the common sense where everybody else didn't have any.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% with that.
And I think it's all because we're looking to laugh at it too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of it, at least for me, I know a lot of it's not like I'm really out there looking for negative stuff to just bitch about, but I'm just like, I laugh at it every time.
No, I think you're right, man. I think that for us, it's like we are mad at it, but from a perspective of like you would be just as angry if you got like a chocolate donut versus a glazed donut. Like you're still gonna fucking use it and eat it and
Eating the
be
goddamn donut.
happy about it. Like you're bummed. That's how we're treating this situation. Like we're
Right.
not really pissed at it, but we are pissed at it from a grown-up perspective. 'Cause I'm a grown-up, damn it, not a kid.
Not a kid.
Not a kid. No. But no, like yeah, I like roadways in general, man. Like I just and maybe you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I fucking hate roadways because I just suck at directions. Like I am, dude. I'm really bad when it comes to like navigating. I am terrible. Awful.
I am the opposite.
You're good at it?
I am one of those people that still to this day, I could give you directions to anywhere you want to go in Maryland or DC.
But like can you give it like where you're like in a quarter mile you're gonna turn like at this street and then you're gonna go north.
I use a lot of landmarks when I give directions and
Me
how
too.
I
Okay.
remember things.
No.
So
Okay, hold on. I'm with you there. 100% I can give directions based on landmarks. But I'm talking about like, could you, like, are you the type that you could easily go, you're going to go northbound on this street, you're going to turn left and then go westbound, you're going to head a mile down on that street, and then you're going to turn onto Highway 37 heading northbound. Like, can you do it that way? Because I
I can't do like the north, south, east, west thing. Like,
right.
I can't do that part, but I can like, okay, you're gonna take Main Street, you're gonna go down 4 stoplights, and then North Road is on your right. There'll be a gas station. It's a Shell gas station, or at least it used to be. You're gonna go down that road for like 5 miles, and then turn left at the bank, and then you're where you want to be.
See, okay, I can give directions like that, but I can't.
Yeah, but I can't do like the lady from Apple Maps. I can't.
Fair enough, but like I can't give directional instructions. Like I'm terrible at it. Also, if you like put me like on a map, right? And you're like, hey, tell me where you are. I can't. I don't know why.
I can. I think a lot of my navigational skills have come from my job
Mhm.
because I spend so much time in an entire city, right?
So you're a fucking pirate. Got it.
I mean, yeah, because like all I do is drive around. I'm bound to wind up on almost every single street in a city.
Yeah, okay. That I can see. That I can see. Now, okay, if you didn't have that job, would you be able to know?
Oh hell no.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Because yeah, I wouldn't
Because
either.
I personally, in my own life, I am a point A to point B kind of guy.
Yeah, me too.
Like I got it, I get it in my mind. Like this morning, that's how I wound up at the gun range, right? Because I woke up and watched a video of a guy shooting something, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to the gun range. So like I got directions to the gun range and I drove straight there. I didn't go anywhere else.
Now,
Like
if you had gone somewhere, like if somebody tells you to go somewhere else, are you the type to like that just fucking ruins your trip? Like you're
every
just
time.
like motherfucker, or do you not care?
Well, I'm very competitive when it comes to trying to beat the time the GPS says that I'm going to get there.
So you're like fucking
I
Mario and
I
Freddy
I
at
have
all
to admit I drive like an asshole.
now, okay. So when the GPS goes 12 minutes to your destination, like you're like, bitch, I can make it in 10.
I'm like bet money. Let's go.
Fair enough.
I will make you a liar by 5 minutes.
Oh my god, that's great. That's awesome. No, man, like I am, like I said, I'm just terrible with fucking directions, dude. I suck. I suck. Like that's the one thing, man. Like, okay, that and being able to hang up pictures on the wall. I am terrible at those two things, man. Like seriously, if for you guys listening out there, if you ever want to bet me and you're just like, hey, I bet you $100 you can't X, these are the two things you want to bet me on because I am terrible at them. Awful.
Hang it. I have to say, like hanging pictures on the wall, because I'm here. We may get some comments like, "Haven't you ever heard of command strips?" I'm here to tell you, them bitches don't work. Not for the long term.
Right,
Like
exactly.
you could stage the shit out of a house for pictures with some command strips. You can. But hang that bitch on your wall for 6 months and watch what happens. Whatever you had hanging on the wall will be on the floor.
Unless you on purpose want to remove the picture, then it just fucking rips the entire wall.
Right. Then you go to pull the command strip off the wall to put a new one in, and you rip down all of the drywall.
Exactly. Right. But no, man, like I am fucking terrible with hanging pictures. I don't
I
know
don't
what
think
the fuck it
anybody
is, but
likes to do that.
no, but the thing is that I'm terrible at it. Like, it's not the fact that I don't like doing it, because you're right, I don't like doing it, but I also suck at it. Like, I swear to God, like I don't know what it is. Like, I have
Well, folks, this means that if you walk into Nelson's house, any picture that's hung on the wall is going to look like the kid that tapes them to the wall when they're kids, like just right on the wall.
okay, if you come into my house, the pictures on my wall look like the Titanic sinking. Like all the pictures are just tilted, turn one way. Like they're just terrible. They're terrible. Like you can tell the ones that I've hung out, but I don't know what it is, man. Like I just suck at it. And like my brain can't compute how to fix it. Now, mind you, I don't consider myself to be the smartest person, but I also don't consider myself to like be an idiot either.
Bro,
So the fact that
you're
I
pretty
can't hang
smart.
pictures, you said what?
You're pretty smart.
I
Like
appreciate
you're
that.
definitely one of the smartest people I know.
I appreciate that. But like here's the thing, right? Like I can't.
That also might mean that you're smart enough to pay somebody else to do that shit.
That's true. That's true. See, maybe you're smarter because you just gave me the idea on how to solve the issue.
Well, and okay, so I have to make I have to make a statement that is one thing that I maybe overuse is the pay somebody else to do it thing. So one thing that I don't like doing is cleaning my house. And my fiance doesn't like doing it either. Like we both like we want our house to be clean and we try really hard, but like the physical act of cleaning infuriates us to where we pick a fight with the other one. Like, why do I gotta pick up your shit? Like, fuck off. Like and and it got to be to the point where that was like a huge thing in between us. So I hired somebody to do it. And now we have a cleaning lady, and that feels like the bougiest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. But let me tell you, if I would have known this 20 years ago, that some lady would come to my house twice a month and clean my house from floor to ceiling, top to bottom, everything is in perfect order. They fold up the toilet paper like you're in a hotel for $125. I would have done this for years. Years. You're muted, buddy. You got to turn on the microphone.
Gosh, idiot. No, here's what I was gonna say. Like, I didn't know, one, that it was that cheap. Two,
I'm saying.
I where the fuck? What have I been doing with my life?
Bro, you need to go on Facebook right now. I'm sure you have a town page on Facebook and just put looking for a cleaning service. And 37 of them will comment underneath. And
Okay, but
then
here's the first problem with what you just said. I have a Facebook, but I have not been on Facebook for a long time. I don't even know how to use Facebook anymore.
ask your kid.
Damn, you fucking know how to delegate, man.
We got the answers, bro. We got the answers.
You're like a master delegator. Dude, no, that's pretty cool, man. Like, now, do you get the same lady every time, or is it like a different lady?
Well, we actually went with it was a lady. She was starting her own business, and she has this business, and it started off as just her and her sister, I think. Not sure. But now there's like she's got like a whole crew now.
Oh, snap.
So she's got like 4 or 5 crews that run around the area and do the same thing, and it's like a legit business. And she's kind of grown. I mean, to the point where she also cleans Lacey's boss's house.
Oh, really?
And then I think they're gonna wind up doing my fiance's work as well.
Now, when they do the cleaning, do they come in and they just like, okay, the first time that they come in, do they have a conversation with you in terms of like what you want?
Oh, yeah.
Or do they just like pick up all your shit and then you're like, fuck, what happened to like my jock strap? I don't know why you would have a jock strap, but what happened to my jock strap, right? Like, is it that kind, or is it like, do they ask you in advance?
Oh, no, basically, so when we first started the whole process, she came over and we kind of walked through the house, and we had a conversation of like what we were looking to do, like a little bit of organizing, the tops of the dressers, stuff like that, a little, just tidy up a little bit and then clean everything. And there was a little bit of that like in the beginning where like they put all the dirty clothes from Paisley's bathroom on top of the basket of clean clothes, and it was a little confusing. But then like they also kind of learn along with coming every week what's what in your house. So there might be a little bit of hiccups here and there in the beginning, but 2-3 times in, everything's kind of ironed out and they just come and do their thing. And the coolest part about this is like they organize every surface in the house, like the kitchen counter, like where we'll like maybe have like too much stuff on the counter and be like, yeah, I need that there for later for no apparent reason. And she'll be like, no, that needs to go over here. So it's also kind of an acceptance of like, I didn't have to do it, so I'm not going to bitch about it.
That's a pretty good deal, though, man.
It is. It feels very bougie, though. It does. Like, it feels above where I feel like I am.
Okay, but like, okay, but is your sanity worth it?
It's worth twice that.
There you go. Then
at least.
Then it's not fucking bougie. It's fucking awesome. That's what it is.
I highly recommend it. You're also supporting a small business.
There you go. There you go. Huh. Interesting. Now I'm thinking that I may.
Nelson's a little stuck right now. He's currently trying to figure out how to get a cleaning lady to his house by like tomorrow.
I am, dude. I am. I totally am. Yeah, man. I think I need a cleaning person. Like, that's
right. I mean, and even like, think about it this way. I know, we were talking the other day, and you guys are getting ready to start some big projects in the house, and that may be a great way to slide that in there, is keeping everything contained and where it needs to be, and the cleanup after the fact, and then you just have somebody do that.
You just sold me onto this. How much are they paying you, motherfucker?
They're not paying me at all. They're not charging me $500 to come do it. That's what it is.
That's the ticket. That's the ticket. Damn, man. Now I'm like evaluating everything in my life, like, and going like, who can I pay to do this? Who can I have to do this? Like,
oh, and don't forget, we can start paying our kids to do things too.
My kids are lazy, dude.
It's not illegal. Yeah, but look at how many things did we do that was sketchy as shit for a 6-year-old when we were growing up?
I mean, fair.
Like, hey, get your ass out of bed and go take the trash out. It's 10 o'clock on a Friday night. You better put that trash outside.
Okay, but see, here's the thing. Like, I remember doing chores from the very beginning, and like, my kids don't. And sure, right. Okay. Look. Here's the thing. I know some people are probably going to listen to this and be like, "That's because you didn't teach your kids right. You should have taught them to do this shit." Okay, look, I'm with you, 100%. You teach them. I've taught them. I also treat them like human beings, and I also understand that, like, I'm not just gonna like fucking kick them in the face because they're not like taking out the trash, right? Like, yes, I am going to be upset, but I'm not gonna kick them in the face. So that being said, like, there's a sense of responsibility each human has. And I feel like my kids were given a very small amount of how much they actually care about doing chores. Like they just don't care. And like, okay, and here's the thing, like, I don't want them to like be passionate about fucking taking out the trash. Like, I don't want Alex to like pull out the trash bag and be like, I'm going to work. Like, I don't want him to do that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, if he sees that the trash can is full, fucking take the trash out. You see what I'm saying?
Bro, I feel like our kids in the generation that they're growing up in are way too quick to say fuck it.
Yes.
Way too quick.
Yes.
Because they're like, I could see the word fuck that across my daughter's face when I tell her to go do something.
That's so true.
Like, right before you get the whiny response of, but I was doing, like, right before that, you get that look like, no, sir.
No, you're right, man. Like, you're right. I think that the generation for today is just like, you know what? Okay, I think it comes down to, we were taught, maybe that's what it is. Okay, listen to this. Growing up, we were taught that failure was not an option, right? Like, if you got second, you're still a loser, right? Like, you didn't win.
Right.
Today's kids, right? They're taught that it's okay to be second. It's okay to not get it done. It's okay to, like, you know, not do something because you don't feel like it, right? And I
Right.
think that is the mentality that they go in with these chores, to the point where then they're like, well, I don't really care about doing it. I'm just not gonna do it.
Like, I'll take getting yelled at. It's fine.
Exactly. You said what I'm saying?
I know my dad's not gonna punch me in the face. It's fine.
Right. I know my dad's not gonna kick me in the throat for not taking out the trash. Right. Like,
Right, but I think it kind of falls back on what I was talking about earlier, is that quest for PC, right? Because like it's acceptable. Like there's an exception for all of this now, and I think it. I don't know. I've heard a couple different arguments both ways, and I think it's just different, right? Like I think it's really hard for us to compare us growing up and our kids growing up. And I think
yeah.
it's a lot harder than I ever thought it would be. Um, because I mean, think about it this way. There's also some good that's come out of kids today, right? Like kids today don't give a fuck about the dumb shit that we like had to hear about, live through, deal with, this, that, and the other. Kids are very accepting of each other too. They don't care whether you're athletic or not. They can still be friends. They don't care whether, you know, kind of like you were talking about in the last episode. It's you just want to be kids together. That's it.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit too much of the I don't give a shit in today's world, I think, because if you keep going if you keep lightening the load every generation, then is anybody gonna give a shit? Like,
That's no, I see what you're saying, and that's a very good point. Like, I guess the thing is that, like, I don't want to accept the fact that, like, okay, here's the thing. Like, I'm accepting of the fact that they have a choice, but I don't want to accept their choice. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm
teach
okay.
them to make better choices.
Right. But like, cause like I said, I remember as a kid, man, like I had chores, and I was doing my chores without being asked.
Right, because I remember like this sense of if I had to get asked to do my chore, that was very close to an ass whooping.
Right.
Like there was this fear, and I think that's what it might be. Is kids these days don't fear nothing.
Maybe you're onto something there.
And we had fear put in us pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything, if we didn't do what we were supposed to do, was an ass whooping.
Yeah.
In one way, shape, form, or another, whether it was from our parents, whether it was from the police, whether it was from anybody, we was getting beat.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, maybe that has some portion of it. Like, we were beat to submission, and therefore we just do our chores.
Right.
But no, I think you're right, man. I think it's a combination of, one, how we grew up in the sense of things just being beaten into us, and then also the fact that we weren't given the option to not do, right? Like when your parents said, do this, you did it, right? And like,
Well, I think there's also another thing that I want to throw in there. Social media in itself and our kids' involvement in social media, I think, has had a lot to play in that. Because if you can remember, I did not know what was going on outside of East Baltimore.
mm-hmm,
When I was a kid,
mm-hmm,
if you lived in the next town over, I didn't know you and didn't
right.
have a reason to.
Right.
The only people I knew that lived out of town were my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the circle was small. You
yeah,
didn't
you're right.
see other states, other areas. Like
there was no alternative, right? Like there was
right.
no.
Like your world was Silver Spring.
Right.
That was it.
And the thing was that like your friend also lived through the same thing, right? So it became normal for them because if you talked about it and you were like, hey man, I'm fucking sick of taking out the trash, then they would go, me too, man. Like I gotta take that shit out every Tuesday, right? But now with kids these days, one, they're not going outside to have these conversations. That's number one.
Right.
But number two, they're also like they don't have the responsibility, if you will, to do it because they're given these options.
Right. I think the other thing is we as parents give our kids way too much shit to keep them occupied that doesn't involve going outside.
That is a good point, actually. You're right.
Because like I didn't have a tablet. We didn't have a computer in my house until I was in middle school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Same here.
we had a TV, so like yeah, when it was rainy, and we didn't have cable when I was a little kid. We got cable later on, but we didn't even have cable, so we had like 4 channels anyway. So you only watch that stuff at like Christmas and
Yeah.
like football.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right, man. Like I think that's the thing is that like, we bitch about our kids not being outside, but we're also feeding into the problem, right? By giving them all these devices and all this other shit. Very interesting. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, we did experience some pretty cool things here in our neighborhood during the pandemic. That was one of the things is like everybody was in a weird spot. I felt like we all got kind of pushed back to like being kids. Like we didn't know what was going on, didn't know what to do, didn't know this and that. So, all of us in the neighborhood, almost every house in the neighborhood has kids. And we all collectively were like, all the kids were outside, like sitting on the sidewalk in front of their own house, playing, like yelling to each other across the street, stuff like that. And then as parents, we were all just like, look, let the kids play. And I'm telling you, man, these kids on this street, they were outside every day. The
Mm.
whole time during lockdown, they were outside in the woods, playing with dirt, pushing over fallen trees, digging underneath the rocks, whatever. They were outside the
Like
whole
they were
time.
actually being kids.
Yeah. And dude, like, even for my kid to be able to experience that for a year, like, that was cool. That I have to say, like, there's times where we talk about it all the time. Is we kind of wish we could go back to that because the life that we had was very simple.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. And like I think that's one of the things that I really didn't get to see here. I mean, like we also live in a neighborhood where like we don't have that many kids nearby. Like, our neighbors, they're like, um, they're older couple. The people out front, they had younger kids, they moved out, but and then like we just don't have other kids that are close by. And I think that's part of the issue that maybe why we don't why is not an incentive for like Izzy and Alex to go outside either, right? Because like it's not like they can just go outside and there's going to be a group of people out there. Because I do remember when I was a kid, like I would go outside and there was always somebody outside,
Dude,
right?
we
Like
would
you
mob.
always found somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think
It-
that's
In fact, I remember being more concerned when the dude who is outside every day wasn't outside.
right. Yeah.
Like, bro, what happened?
Yeah, exactly. Some
Like-
shit went down with Timmy.
Like, there's like 5 of us, like, just hanging out in front of his house, walking back and forth, like, hey, Miss Smith, where's
Right.
Timmy?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
happened? Is he okay?
Yeah.
Oh, he's at the dentist. All right. Tell him
Right.
we said
We'll see,
hi.
we'll see him later. Yeah. No, like you're right, man. Like that is one of the things that maybe that's why kids these days, one, don't have that incentive to go outside. And again, we're creating the problem, right? Because we're giving them more devices, which in return doesn't require them to be outside. Now, here's the thing, and maybe this is a question that I'm going to take to Izzy and Alex when I have a conversation with them. But like, I wonder if they're chatting more with people online. You know what I'm saying? Because like back in the day, if you remember, like with us, right? Like we were told not to chat with strangers and all this other shit. But now that's a lot more common. And I'm not saying that it's safe because that's not what I'm preaching. The internet is a scary place, and just there's always somebody for something, right? So yes, you're gonna have like the scary people that are, into pedophilia, the people that are like, trying
Weirdos.
to sell some random shit to somebody, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you actually take it at the core of what the tools that internet offers, right? Like, are kids having more conversations with strangers, right? Because again, it's more common nowadays to do that, right? Than it was when you and I were kids. So maybe the social um the social aspect that I am craving for them to have by going outside, maybe they're getting it through an online platform. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, I I have very mixed emotions about that. Like, I play video games. I know you play video games. Like, I know that when you're playing Call of Duty, you can get thrown into a conversation with random people, but your experience is kind of limited to that 15 minutes of you playing Call of Duty.
Right.
Like, and you don't have to stay there. If somebody says something weird, you could just back out and play another game, whatever. And that person has no way to really know who you are either. But I mean, part of that concerns me, but I also wonder the same thing. I mean, I know specifically with Paisley, she spends a lot of time talking to her friends from school. They have a couple different group texts together, and some from cheerleading, some from softball, some from kind of a little bit of everywhere. But they spend a lot of time and they have fun, making TikToks back and forth, doing this, doing that, whatever. Like, they do a lot of things together, but I part of that whole getting the social aspect from talking to complete strangers, maybe it is the stranger danger that was beaten into us as children, but it part of it worries me, but then I also, like you, think that maybe that's the reason why they don't do as much.
Well, and that's you're right. Like that still worries me. Don't get me wrong. Like, and it's because of the fact that it was ingrained in me, right? And it's also because of the shit that I've seen on the internet as well. So, like, it scares me that they are talking to strangers if they are. I mean, I've talked to Izzy and Alex, and they both tell me that they don't. But like shit, I remember back in the day saying that I didn't download music legally, but I did. Um, so
Mom, I'm not one of those kids that has a Napster.
right, right, exactly.
I don't have
Right,
one.
right, right, right.
Yes, I asked you to buy me a 300 pack of rewritable CDs. I know, but I did, that's for other things. I'm making stuff. I need it.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. So, like, I there is that sense of fear through that aspect, but again, because of the fact that it's becoming more social, right? And I'm talking about like, shit like Discord, right? And like Steam and like things like that. Like you're talking to strangers. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And like you're right. Like there are certain people that are gonna come at you and like, most of the tools have an option to where you can leave, right? If need be. But at the same time, again, I don't know if it's because of that fear that we have ingrained in us that we're just like, I don't know. I still want you outside. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
don't care that it's 30 degrees. Get your ass outside.
right, right. Like I mean, think about that, right? Like we're like,
Put
I
on
don't
some
want you
snow
to.
pants.
Well, like here's the thing, like we're like, I don't want you to talk to this person online that you're never gonna see in your life, but go outside, and then if you get abducted, don't worry. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it just sounds
I
crazy, but
want you face to face.
right, right. But the thing is that, like again, like I think you nailed it by saying that that was something that you know things were ingrained in us, and I think that's one of those aspects that it was ingrained in us that we needed to be afraid of people that we didn't know, right? And you know I, I can tell you that my parents today are still terrified of even using the internet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, man.
Oh
So,
my god.
but yeah. Anyways, all right. So we're on time. This is we're now at our closing time here. I think for today's episode, we're gonna leave you guys with What should be our closing statement today, Brandon?
I would say our closing thought is we all need to sit back and reflect on those behaviors that have been ingrained in us and how they affect us in our day-to-day life, and are they still applicable or not?
So you're saying that I should reconsider skinny jeans?
No. There's no amount of reconsidering that's necessary for skinny jeans. You should just burn them.
No, fair enough. I think you nailed it with that. So, thank you guys again for joining us.
Absolutely.
Don't be an asshole. Be nice to people. Talk to them. Try to reconsider what happened in your life, and don't be afraid of stranger danger.
Right.
We're gonna leave you with that.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little. On that note, peace out, y'all. Thanks.
Peace out.
Bye.